I love service. I love it when I see attentive service, attention to detail. When people go that extra mile or brands go that extra mile, I find that gives me the most inspiration.
Do you know what I call that?
What?
De-seeding the lemon.
De-seeding the lemon?
Yeah, I have a whole concept around de-seeding the lemon,
tell me.
which is my next book. And
really?
Yeah. You never know.
You never cease to surprise me.
You might be in the next one as well with your de-seed the lemon. So the whole concept being, and I think you would really relate to this, de-seed the lemon, it's kind of a metaphor that I've taken from my granny. So she always used to have hot water with lemon. And she used to say, cut the pips out the lemon, because there's nothing worse when you're having it. Just a tiny little thing can change the dimension of a drink.
Completely.
If I go to a 5-star hotel, I ask for a hot water with lemon.
You've got the pips in there.
Yes, and it sounds so trivial, but that's the whole thing. It's the tiny things that make the biggest detail.
And this is our internal motto. It's in the details.
Welcome to the show, Salina. It is
Thank
so
you for
good to
having me.
have you.
Thank you so much for
I feel
having
like
me.
we've had a little bit of a chat
prior.
pre, and we could have just kept going with that. We have known each other for nearly, 16 years, 17
I would say
years?
20 years.
Yeah.
It's been 20 years since you've walked into my office.
So I remember, I was still crew at the time, and I had picked up, I think you'd done a flyer drop in the crew accommodation.
I think it was my first couple of months being open.
Yeah, and I remember picking up this flyer, and I loved the branding, I loved the names, and I was like, I need to go and investigate this spa.
Really?
And that was how I first found out about you. And I remember just...
What did you do? Did you call me or did you just show up? I think you called me.
I think I called and then arrived at Sensasia, and then we had a meeting. So you were like my first businessy person I think I ever met. And I was in
And look
awe.
at you now.
Oh, I was
And
in
look at how far
awe
you've come.
of you going, wow, you've built this, and just everything I loved about your brand. And then interviewed you 3 years later for my first book and Success in the City. We were just recounting actually that experience. So we've got so much to catch up on. But for those that don't have the privilege like I do for knowing you so long, why don't you give everyone a little bit of a backstory as to who you are and what brought you to Dubai maybe?
Well, I came to Dubai accidentally. I didn't think I'd be here for a very long time. I came here fresh out of university. I was in university in the States. Home is Thailand, and that's where my family was. And at the time, I remember my father saying, don't come back here for a little while unless you end up working for me. Go to Dubai for a little while if you'd like. And I said, okay. My sister was here. I ended up here thinking it'd be a 2-month, 3-month stint. Oh, my best friend at the time, who's still a very, very close friend of mine today, and I still see regularly, was here as well. So she was like, come on over. I came, and I ended up, long story short, meeting my husband here.
Yep.
I didn't leave. People who I came here for, like my sister, my friend, they'd all left, and I'm still here.
Still here. So where did you meet your husband?
I met him at work.
Nice.
Cliche Dubai. I met him at work.
But I think so. Cliche, but your husband at work, and you came for 2 months.
I
and
came for
still-
2 months.
That
and
was me as
25
well.
years later, I'm still here. 23 years later, I'm still here. We worked at Merrill Lynch together. I was very junior, an assistant, and he was one of the financial advisors there. And we met. You've met my husband.
I have indeed.
You have.
I've attended
many
your birthday
times.
parties. And,
Yes.
I don't think I've met your children yet, though. Or
Maybe
if they were
not.
very little, maybe.
They were really little. We talked about my 30th birthday just now, that crazy party. But they weren't around at that time.
So where did the idea for the spa come about? So you're in finance, and then...
I didn't study finance, though. I have a business degree, which is, I'm sure we'll touch on later. And I had a concentration in consumer behavior, marketing, and finance was just not the place for me. Merrill Lynch, as much as I loved it and as much as it taught me, I knew that wasn't what I wanted to do. Very quickly, I moved to Tetra Pak, which is a packaging company all about branding concepts. I worked in marketing there, moved my way up to business development. I ended up working with a very inspiring gentleman, Desmond Joseph. Haven't even been in touch with him forever, but he was extremely inspiring in the sexiness of a brand, creating a brand and hitting subliminal points in a brand. And that's how I started being interested in conceptual work for brands, branding, and understanding, wow, everything we buy or everything we use in our lives is based on what we perceive it to be. So that's how I ended up doing that for a few years. And then got bored of corporate, got married, decided, don't really want to work corporate. I'm doing all this work. I think I could do this for myself and do it better, probably make more money.
That's what we all think. We all tell ourselves, we'll work less and we'll earn more.
We'll enjoy more, have more money, and we'll have all this time to go on holiday. No.
Absolutely.
And then I said, look, I actually searched for a year, 2 years maybe, thinking, what could I do? What's gonna do this for me? And I was in Vietnam with a group of friends. We were there for Christmas and New Year's on a nice trip. Again, long story short, I ended up in this very, very basic colonial house, French colonial house, because I didn't like my hotel spa. Went here because remember the Luxe guides?
Love them.
Love them, yeah. Right? Are they still around?
I was just going to ask you, actually.
I don't know. Yeah. Because I love them so much and because I thank the Luxe Guide for this, I stocked them in the spas for a while for 𝗕𝗏𝘁𝗄. Yeah. I don't know if they're still around.
I haven't seen them for a while. We were featured in it. When I had my styling agency, we were in it as well.
We were in it too. Yes, for Dubai. Yeah. Looked at it and it recommended this beautiful spa, colonial spa, said it was basic, but the best thing you'll ever have. Went to it and the idea struck like a light bulb went off. And I was in a room with 3 other people getting the best shiatsu massage of my life with a therapist who spoke 0 English. Even thinking about it right now just brings goosebumps back. My husband was playing golf with the guys and that was my afternoon. And I went home. I couldn't wait to get back to the hotel and said, this is what I want to do. I went back a couple of days later to the same spa and I met the owner. She was Vietnamese American, had no clue how to run a spa, but she had a very similar background to mine, educated in the States with American, that whole culture behind her. Mm-hmm. She kind of sounded like me. And I said, if she can do it, I can totally do this better.
I love that.
Totally do this better. I said, I don't need to know how to do this. I just need to know how to passionately build this brand and hit people where, the lack that I have. I wanted to spa in Dubai, but everything was pretty stuffy. And
it's very hotel driven. It was only hotels.
Only hotel. I mean, and nothing was, and I had just come back from Boston and New York and thinking, I'm still cool, even though I probably wasn't, but thinking we really need to merge this. And that's how I created the day spa.
Yeah. Did you ever tell the lady in Vietnam?
Yeah. We kept in touch. And then the weirdest thing was I ended up meeting her at 𝗕𝗏𝗁 Summer Academy, which is where I went to study about spa development and spa management and really understand, what's beneath the hood of all spas. And she was there too.
No
way.
I
said to her, oh my God, it's all because of you.
Oh, that's lovely.
Isn't that?
I think that's such a really important point to touch on because you had this idea in the spa, which is a great ideas come in the spa. Mine are often in the shower, actually.
Are they really?
Yeah. But, from the spa, you didn't have spa experience.
Nothing.
And I think people in business often get a bit put off going, oh, but I don't have that experience and I shouldn't do it. But you would say, go for it.
I don't know what happened. I really don't know what happened. Usually I'd be the first to say, oh God, I can't do that. I really can't do that. I don't have a clue what I'm doing. Don't do it. But I don't know what happened at that point. I kind of feel like it was meant to be because from that point to opening was 8 months.
Well, that's quick for Dubai.
I know.
And especially then, because if we're talking sort of from 2004 was when you launched.
Yeah.
Like the red tape and getting a trade license.
The red tape was crazy.
Yeah.
They didn't have a category at the economic department for a spa.
Yeah, because they didn't have one for me either. And I remember getting put into gifts and novelties.
Yes, I got put into physiotherapy.
So the movement started happening. You got everything. You picked a great location like Village Mall.
And that landed it was like a blessing because when I went there, and I said, I really want a space here because that was when Jumeirah was the coolest place to be. Yeah. Everybody was hanging out there. All the cool brands were there. I went to them. I said, this new mall is opening up. I really want it. I went and I met 𝗵𝗆, who has a huge real estate company right now. Love her. She looked at me and she laughed. She said, are you crazy? How do you think you're going to get a space now to open? And I said, here's my concept paper, or this is what I want to do, like really not having a clue what to even turn in. She's like, this mall has been booked for 2 years. Like, you little child, go away. You have no idea what you're talking about. 2 days later, I get a call from her and she said, look, turn in a proper concept paper. And I was still working full time at the time. She goes, turn in a full concept paper. I like what you said, and I'll see. I took 2 days off work, called in sick. And I think for 48 hours, I just put together, like, it forced me to pound out a concept that was going to work. And I'm the kind of person that works really well under pressure. Procrastination is like my middle name. So I thank her in so many ways because she forced me, gave me that deadline, 48 hours to turn in. And I was pretty stunned at that concept paper myself. And then she said a week later, it's yours.
If you don't ask, you don't get.
Don't get. Yes.
Totally.
And to dream it, like I looked at it and I said, from the Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf was across the street. Do you remember that one?
Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf. Yes,
do you remember that one?
Yeah.
The one by that really funky gas station. I look at it and I was sitting there with my husband going, I really think that's the space I need to be in, but
and you created it, you made it happen. The one thing that always struck me with you was the brand and the consistency that you've always delivered. So let's kind of talk on the branding a little bit. You just come up with incredible names, descriptions. I mean, have you got a team that do it now?
No,
you started in the beginning.
I still do it.
You still do it.
It's still part of my favorite part of my job. Don't forget, I'm a marketing person by trade,
you
by
can
nature.
See that now through everything.
Yeah, I love it, and that's still probably my biggest hold in what I do day to day.
What's been some of the favorite names that you've called?
Oh, I love 𝗕𝗄𝘁𝗄𝗏 Unaware.
Oh, what is that one? Is that like a massage?
That's like a hot stone massage, and it was inspired by this place I was in California. I'd seen it on someone's cap, and I was like, that is so cool. It was like bright pink, Barbie doll kind of girl. And I was like, but she looks so blissfully unaware. And right away, we created a treatment around it with hot stones and like butter. It's just a lovely, blissful treatment.
And do you just write them down?
Yeah, I kind of write them down. Yeah. I'm always creatively inspired, never in spa, but with other businesses, other brands, other experiences. I've always loved, fine dining, luxury experiences. I've always really enjoyed nice holidays, thanks to my husband as well. Lovely. I love service. I love it when I see attentive service, attention to detail. When people go that extra mile or brands go that extra mile, I find that gives me the most inspiration.
Do you know what I call that?
What?
De-seeding the lemon.
De-seeding the lemon?
Yeah, I have a whole concept around de-seeding the lemon,
tell me.
which is my next book. And
really?
Yeah. You never know.
You never cease to surprise me.
You might be in the next one as well with your de-seed the lemon. So the whole concept being, and I think you would really relate to this, is de-seed the lemon. It's kind of a metaphor that I've taken from my granny. So she always used to have hot water with lemon. And she used to say, cut the pips out the lemon, because there's nothing worse when you're having it, or a vodka lime soda or whatever it is, the pips. So you just, a tiny little thing can change the dimension of a drink.
Completely.
Yeah. And if you go to like a 5-star hotel, it really annoys me. If I go to a 5-star hotel, I ask for a hot water with lemon and they can't be bothered
you've got the pips in there.
Yes, and it sounds so trivial, but that's the whole thing. It's the tiny things that make the biggest detail.
And this is our internal motto. It's in the details.
It's in the details.
It's our internal motto.
De-seed the lemon. Yeah. Here we come. Here we come.
But it's all that makes it.
That tiny little thing.
That tiny little thing.
Yeah. So I always remember you telling me when it came to the marketing experience, when I interviewed you for Success in the City, I never knew the whole concept because I hadn't had marketing.
I love that name. Do you remember? It was so, we were like, we're so going to be 𝗕𝗿𝗁𝗁.
But in the business world.
Yeah, I loved it.
You gave me the whole analogy of describing your ideal
person.
Yes.
You remember that, Kelly?
It is. And
do you remember her name?
Do you know what? I don't, but then you described it like layers of an onion.
Yes, peeling back the onion layers.
Yeah, so maybe just explain that a little bit more. So
right now?
Yeah, go for it.
So I can't believe you remember that. I tell so few people that story. But I think branding and I think staying true to your concept, and this is how I created or designed or even put myself in check with Sensasia's brand and its core values is, I guess in today's business world, you'll call them avatars. Yeah. So I had Lily.
That was it.
Yeah, I had Lily. And, you're bringing back lots of memories. I identified her as, who she was, where she'd hang out, where she'd go to school, what her intrinsic values were as a human being, what she valued in a family, in a friend, in a brand, if she was conscious, if she wasn't. So she was this really sexy, understated, very elegant Caucasian woman that just was free-spirited, didn't need to show the world who she was, but knew it. So everything about Sensasia came from that core. So peeling back the layers is, on the top layer is what people see. But if you start to peel off the top layer, it's kind of what's under the crux of that. Then you go another layer to the psychometric analysis of what drives Lily to make her purchase decisions, what drives her to affiliate to a brand, or what drives her to connect to another human being, or how she filters out the idiots, as we also say.
Absolutely.
And we do have that, right? So that still kind of drives it. It's funny we mentioned that because I used that entire analogy of Lily, a little bit more of a grown-up version because I've grown up and learned a lot as well. We went into, we're starting a whole retail line.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. With homewares, candles, incense.
Oh, wow. Lovely.
You'll love it. You'll love the names, by the way. Names like Put On Something Sexy and Pregnant Still on Top. So again, I should have brought you some today. But they're all that would relate to her quirkiness, but yet she's...
And her grown-up version.
Her grown-up version.
Yeah. I love that.
So every time I think, oh, I should really have some cupping in the spa. Like I thought about that the other day. I was like, no, Lily is not that person. So let's stay true to what that's about, not what I want, but what's true to what Sensasia is about. Because no matter what, every client has resonated with that, or most of our clients resonate with that. And if something starts to go off, I even toyed with, a lot of clients have asked, why don't you do hair, nails? Why have you remained just spa?
Yeah.
And that was one of the reasons. She didn't want to mix that up. Because to her, that relaxation, the feeling of that entire zen of being switched off in that environment, you put a blow dryer in there or nail varnish smells, it changes the energy. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think then, I don't know if one place can be
everything to everybody, which is exactly what we say. We're not for everybody. And we're unapologetic about it. We say we're not for everybody. If you want to go to a fancy, 5-star hotel, exactly. Go have a lovely massage, spend the day at the bar at the beach. That's for you. Or just come at your anniversary and do a full blowout. That's great, but we're not that. Yeah, we're not that box.
Yeah. So where are you now then? So you started off with the one in the Village Mall.
Yes.
I know, but maybe share with what's the journey been over the past sort of 16, 17 years?
I never thought I'd grow beyond the Village, to be honest. I never expected to. I kind of made that project a passion, fun project. It was, I thought that would be it. And 3-4 years later, we opened up on the Palm, and I was quite super flattered, and it just kind of opened my horizons when we were asked to open up on the Palm. And I was very humbled and very, oh wow, maybe this is a possibility. I did that. It was the same time I had the kids, and then we grew very quickly to 6, 7. At one point we had 7 spas. Wow. Catch-22, we were making a lot less money when we had so many outlets because the headaches
and the setup,
the setups, the back office costs just became astronomical to run everything.
What would it take to get a spa? Do you have to be in it 3 years, or does it depend on the location?
It depends on the location. Village was cash flow positive in 9 months.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Emirates Golf Club took about 2 years.
Yeah.
That was a slow pickup, I think, because it had perception issues that it was a members club only at the time. Now
it's a nice spot though.
It's a lovely spot.
Was that the first one you made men's as well?
That was the Palm was
men as well.
The Palm had a whole separate area for men.
Yeah.
And what was the question? I forgot.
No, sorry. I was so curious on that about, because you were saying you were making less money.
Yes.
With more places.
Places. And we started to grow and grow and grow. Then we reassessed, shut down 1 or 2 that weren't doing so well. One of them was downtown because the dynamics changed in Dubai. A lot of people, there was a little recession happening. All our fun, young, very wealthy, single people were living downtown at the area, and they all moved pretty much overnight. So that spa really suffered, and we said, right, let's cut our losses and shut this one down and kept the rest open. The others started to close down during COVID. COVID hit us, but it was a blessing in disguise because it allowed us to reevaluate. It allowed me to reevaluate what I wanted to do. At the time, we were already doing a couple of hotel contracts where the Spa People was born, the consultancy, where they'd want an element of Sensasia or allow us to bring Sensasia to them, run it our way, but it be their property.
I see. So have you got different arms to that? So you can
Yes.
either bring Sensasia
Yes.
in, or you can actually just consult
Or
on
I
their...
consult on some international projects as well, where we just help them not necessarily do a feasibility study, but they come to us with, this is what we want to achieve in a location. We have this hotel, or we've even done private developments, residential developments, really high-end developments where they want a spa element. So we say, this is how, you'd set it up. This is what you would need. This is a capital you'd need. This is how we can even hold your hand for the full year of opening, set it up for you, train everybody up, and slowly let you go, and you can run it yourself.
Amazing. So how many do you have now?
We've done quite a few consultancy projects, different modules and different phases.
Yeah. And how many of the spas or Sensasias
The
do you have?
Sensasias, we've had 2, 3.
Nice.
Right now, our biggest one is with the 𝗕𝗿𝗄𝗄𝗏 hotel.
Lovely.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's rebranded into Sensasia Stories, which is a premium version of the Sensasia
Yeah. So that's the next steps onto it. And how have you enjoyed the consultancy part of it?
I won't lie, it's not as easy, again, as we talked about earlier, it's not as easy as you'd think. Some projects are great. I think I take on the projects with people or organizations that I really like. I have to feel that connection with them to like them. There have been quite a few that I've turned down only because I know I may not be the right fit for them, and vice versa. They may not value the elements that we bring to it that make it a luxury spa. And we have to work that out. So it's not always easy.
That's a really strong position to be in, knowing that you're comfortable to actually say no. And I think a lot of people, in the beginning, you do have to say yes to a lot of things.
You do, yeah.
But I think as you get
think
more
it's comfortable because my core business is still our own spas. I do this because I like the creativity. I like the building. I like that element, because my job can get kind of boring after a while.
Well, and I think once it's established and you've got your names and the creativity part is done,
they're done, and we keep changing it up. And I've got a great team. I've got a wonderful operational team, a wonderful back office team. They're wonderful.
So what are the other things that you're doing? I know you're part of 𝗕𝗋, and that's been fairly a new thing. How have you found that in sort of supporting business? And, I guess it's that whole point of when you run your own thing and you're in one space, how do you learn from others and grow as well?
I think I joined 𝗕𝗋. I dabbled with 𝗕𝗋 a long time ago, about 10, 15 years ago. My husband was actually the member, and then he moved on to something called 𝗕𝗿𝗄𝗏. But as I was growing and my business facets were changing, I found that my peer group wasn't always able to, or interested. I mean, I wouldn't be either to sit down and dissect elements of the business with me to help me grow. There's only so much you're going to do at home and have it not rule your life.
Yeah.
And I think I did it because it's a group of like-minded entrepreneurs. They all start their own businesses, whether they're big or small. You all go through a similar journey of startup, plateauing, trying to figure out how to grow more, sustaining, and the learnings is what I've joined it for. I've joined it for that camaraderie of the like-mindedness, that I'm not alone in this, that there are other people that are going through this, and it's been a wonderful experience.
It's really crucial. I've joined a mastermind in the UK for the very same reasons, that 4 times a year.
Oh, it's 4 times a year.
Yeah, we meet up back in the UK.
Right.
And it's all, again, I think it's, as much as you maybe want to talk about business, not everyone else wants to.
Not everybody
listen
wants to.
it.
Yeah, not everybody wants to.
I saw a great meme recently, and it was about being in a relationship, and it was to do with your partner, and it was something like, well, because I'm in business means you're in business too, even though if they're not, because it's just part of it. But that's your partner, but your outside circle may not want to necessarily.
They may not necessarily always want to chat about it. And especially when you've got intricate decisions to make, you're not going to give them the backstory. I mean, they'll be out the door as fast as, they've entered. Here, it's a safe platform, a non-judgment platform. Everybody is open, willing. That's what everybody's joined for. That's what they're there for.
What's been some of your best marketing strategies you've executed? Is there one that you can think of that you were like, wow, that went so well?
I would say our gifting.
Okay.
We've got a couple of good ones. We've done summer massage sale, which you know about.
Yes.
Which
that's always great.
was inspired by 𝗕𝗿𝗄𝗏 Secret.
Tell me about that.
Really quickly, that was a couple of years ago, like 10 years ago, maybe less. I saw an email that was like annual sale. And this is what I mean. I get inspired by other brands. Annual sale, semi-annual sale. I was like, that is such a cool thing to do. Obviously, I think they're getting rid of leftover stock or just getting engagement back up. I said, this is the coolest thing to do for summer when no one's around. And remember when Dubai used to be
dead?
Yeah. How are we going to cover our costs, pay salaries? None of my costs go away.
Yeah.
And we've got to fill bums on beds regardless. I said, if that hour is gone, we don't make any money. So we're better off using it to just go half price pretty much just for those couple of months. Yeah. And people will do it. It was a roaring success.
And do you still do it now?
We still do it. People ask for the annual sale in April. As soon as Ramadan's over, they're like, well, when's the sale coming? We're like, it's the summer sale.
But I guess because Ramadan moves every year.
People... So they ask sooner and sooner.
Yeah.
So that's been a great one. And we don't even slash our prices that much anymore. I think it's just the mentality of you're getting a deal.
And getting good value.
And getting
for
good
it
value.
As well.
Some of them go up to 40% off. And then some of them not
and
so
are people
much.
allowed to buy vouchers, or is just
you have to do the treatments.
You have to come in and do the treatments.
Yeah, we get the bum on the bed.
I had one of the best treatments in your spa, and I had never experienced. I think it was kind of like I can't even remember what it was called, the names. But she gave me like I'd say, it twisted my body. And
ooh, okay, maybe you had the Thai yoga stretch.
Oh, I've never experienced anything like it. Like the popping of the air of isn't that the terminology?
They pop and then you feel air come out of places.
It was so good. She said, "Can you just move this way?" I was like, "I'm not that flexible," but she managed to get me into this position, and I was like, "This is incredible."
Did you feel so good that night?
Totally. Slept so well. Good. So how are you sort of in terms of kind of going forward? What's next? Is it the spa people where you're focused on? Are you happy where you are? I mean, you've done the 7 spas, come back a little bit from that.
We're limited on the spa consultancy. Like I said, we pick and choose the projects we want to work with and the modules, and depending on our schedules. I'm really enjoying the whole retail line right now. I love the spas. Don't get me wrong. I do love the spas. I do, but I can do them in my sleep now.
Yeah.
Creating them. We've got the model down. We've got the templates down. We know what makes it work. The only change ever happens with the space. We have to, the hard work is the space, getting the space right, getting the elements right. And that comes down to the designers you choose and the architects you work with. But I'm really, really right now enjoying the whole gifting experience. Oh, I was going to tell you. So another big thing we do is gifting, gift vouchers. This was inspired by Bloomingdale's. When, you know how in Bloomingdale's in the counters, you've got those little cards?
Yeah.
Those cards, and they all have different messages and different colors on them. I said, that's a great idea. We're going to do this for Christmas. So we started doing Christmas campaigning with different messaging, steering away from our usual gift vouchers to meet me under the mistletoe messaging, or you mean everything to me kind of thing, or you've made Santa's nice list. And we got a little cheekier, which I won't say now, this year. We get a little cheekier and cheekier, and we change the messaging every year. We change the entire design every year. And that's what's made me realize that gifting is huge. Again, it's all about what the gifter purchases for you and how you feel, loving that gift you received, and in turn, telling me, the gifter, that I love that gift, and that makes me, the gifter, feel incredible. And I think that's what snowballs.
It's so funny you talk about that, because I still remember. So for your very first gift vouchers, you used to have a very elaborate...
Ribboned?
Yes, the green ribbon.
Yes, they're still ribboned.
Are they? And I remember the girl in reception. Do
you remember Zoe?
Yes,
at reception?
I do.
So she started that by accident.
Oh, and
she
it was
for
incredible.
One client. Yeah, she did it for one client by accident. I'm so glad you remember Zoe. And she's the one who created that beautiful ribbon.
Yeah.
And it has stayed.
I've tried to replicate it on Christmas presents, birthday presents.
I'll teach you later.
Okay, perfect.
Really
but
easy.
I've never managed, but it was so beautiful. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so nice.
So we're getting into the whole gifting thing. Online shopping is now a thing. Gifting online, gifting e-gift vouchers online as well. And that's why we went into the whole range of candles, ice globes. We're going into a whole bunch of really fun stuff.
So when does that launch then?
Ice globes are out.
Okay,
Candles have just arrived. Ooh. They're all out. And we had them in just before Christmas. And the rest is slowly coming.
So was this just a time where you got to be so creative with the names and like
and I
redoing
didn't
the
have
star
to
again?
inhibit.
Yeah, I love that. Who's been one of your, who's been a mentor or someone that's really inspired you on this sort of journey?
I think I told you this before as well. She's not a person I've met, but I absolutely want to be her and wish I was her and wish I had the tenacity this woman has, the persistence, the creativity, is 𝗕𝗫 𝗕𝗂𝗁, the creator of Bliss originally.
Yeah.
Then she moved on to what I think it was 𝗕𝗏𝗏. And then she did 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗁. Now she's on to something else. I can't keep up with this woman. I love everything she's done.
And is it everything from the branding perspective?
The branding perspective, the product, how the product fits to market is just incredible. It's almost like she's light years ahead of what's ready. And when it's launched, people go, oh my God, that's just way out there. But very quickly you get the adopters and then she sells it.
You should write to her.
I should, shouldn't I? Yeah. She signed a little Soap and Glory box for me that a friend met her at a dinner and said, you know that my friend, me, is obsessed with you and wants to be you. And she just was at this dinner with him and signed a little Soap and Glory tube. And I still have it on my desk.
You should totally write to her or send a message or do a handwritten card, find the address, send it to the...
I shouldn't
you're always talking about de-seeding the lemon. What's a little bit, how to stand out. You never know.
She's completely inspired me on so many levels.
Wow. Has she ever written a book?
I don't think so, no. Go hit her up, Kelly.
Okay, I will do.
You
will do. And I'll leave the notes and the links.
I think she lives in London
this.
now.
Maybe I'm back next month. You're back and have a little look. I'd love to know in the spa industry, and it's a question I actually ask in pretty much every episode, myths. Do you have a spa bed in your office? And like, do you really work? To be fair.
I wish. And I love how, even dear friends, love them dearly. Even my family members, love them dearly. Your job is so easy. Don't you live in a spa bed or don't you just get a massage all day? I wish. I'm lucky if I get a massage once a month. My therapist actually say to me, your back is disgusting because it's as hard as rock. You've got the spa. Why don't you ever come in and use it? Don't come when you're in pain. Please just make it a regular thing because you make our job really difficult for you.
Make it more consistent.
Can you just be a little bit more consistent?
Because you're got consistent in everything else.
Everything else. But no, I don't. And I also find being in the spa is work. I love going to the spa. I probably got more massages before I had the spa, but it's work because I'm also the biggest critic because of the details, because of, not in a bad way, but I get inspired as well in spa to go, oh, I like this, but we should probably do this way. And I throw people off their groove when I do that sometimes.
Would you ever go to another spa?
Oh, I always do.
Oh, what, to kind of suss out what's going on, or just because
so
it's
I
nice
know
to
I
be...
can switch off. I know
okay.
I can switch off. I spa a lot when I travel.
Yeah.
Very much so. I enjoy doing it.
So the best one outside the UAE was one that's like that
the one outside?
that de-seeds the lemon and
the one that I've loved?
Yes.
Ooh, that's a really trick question, Kelly. There's so many good spas.
2. So there's no favorites?
There was a place in New York that was, again, not a beautiful hotel spa, but I think it was called the Townhouse Spa. And it was off of 5th Avenue somewhere, down in a basement. I'd read about it in Time Out, and they had rated it really highly as a really good day spa. And it was just wonderful. Wonderful. Really good. Oh, and believe it or not, one of the best massages I've ever had was in Baku. Boring spa in the hotel. But the therapist, you could tell that this therapist was just... I feel like she was in a trance when she was doing her treatment on me.
And she just loved what she did.
Loved what she was doing. I felt like she could identify. Usually when you're getting a massage, you're like, they're not hitting that spot. She knew the spot before I could tell the spot.
Like intuitive nearly.
Intuitive,
on the whole thing.
yeah.
Wow.
But Baku of all places.
Yeah, how bizarre.
I know.
So to wrap up, I guess today, I've loved it, and I feel like we're just beginning.
So much.
There's so much more because it's been so long since I did catch up with you. What's maybe something I haven't asked you that you're like, oh, I wished you had, or something that's coming up, or filled me in the blank spaces? Is there anything you'd want to say?
I don't think so. I think we kind of covered everything.
I know that
there's so much you haven't asked me, but I think might not be here.
That'll be over the wine.
That'll be over the wine.
What would you say to someone who's thinking of starting, or maybe who's in business, or kind of what tips have you got?
I think one of the biggest tips I ever got after I'd started, and it's proven itself, is do something that you actually love. I know it sounds really cliche, but do something that doesn't feel like work. It shouldn't feel like work. You should be, if it doesn't excite you to wake up in the morning to go and do, don't do it.
Yeah.
Right? The other day I went to a new opening. I'm sure you've heard of it, called the Bureau.
Yes, yeah.
I loved it.
Yes.
And meeting the two women who started it.
They're going to be on the podcast.
Oh, you must tell
Coming.
them. You
Yes.
must tell them. I really felt a lovely energy about that space, knowing that they were doing something that they
loved.
and put their seal of approval on, and you know they're going to do so well with it because you could just feel the passion surging through the space between the walls.
The energy is lovely.
The
in there,
energy was
actually.
incredible. It really struck me, and I've been to a lot of openings, and I really felt that was just from the initial branding, the initial concept, the initial everything was just wonderful. So always do what doesn't feel like work.
I love it. How can people find you? Where's the best place? Are you on LinkedIn?
Probably LinkedIn or our website. SensasiaSpas.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being part of it.
Thank you.
We need a part 2, I feel.
What?
I said we need a part 2
We need a
of
part
this.
2. I know. It's going to be a lot longer and no camera.
Sounds good. Thank
Cut
you
that
so
part
much.
out.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly.